sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Danny Liston became the poster boy for all three in the 1970s, but fame faded quickly for his band called Mama's Pride, and Danny was left to deal with the fallout.
It was the early 1970s when Danny Liston, his brother Pat, and their friend Max Baker started a band. Mama's Pride was born. It didn't take long for the little-known band from St. Louis to make a name for themselves and sign with Atlantic Records. Danny Liston was living his dream.
We were guys from South St. Louis, you know. My brother and I were raised by a single mom. All of a sudden, we went from nothing to huge mansions and limousines, and everything was at our disposal. I mean, you had to be careful what you asked for because it would happen.
As the band's success grew, so did the temptations.
The whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll, head first into it. My main drug was alcohol. I loved cocaine, but if I had to choose between a bottle and a vial of Coke, I'd always go for the booze.
Behind the music and the substance abuse lay a deeper struggle.
The only time I was happy is when I was performing. But I remember on the last song of the set, just being like, I don't want this song to end because I know what's going to happen. The minute this song ends and the minute I walk off this stage, it's going to be waiting for me. And I'm going to go right back into that depression, right back into that anxiety, right back into that. I mean, I just lost hope.
Atlantic Records dropped the band after only 2 albums. Eventually, Mama's Pride broke up. Danny settled down and married his longtime girlfriend, Pam. He lost his passion for music and headed in a new direction. Danny started a painting company, and later he and Pam opened up a restaurant outside St. Louis called Seamus McDaniel's. But Danny's old habits followed close behind.
Your dad suffered from alcoholism, and it led to his death. Were you ever afraid that the same thing would happen to you?
Not initially. And it's strange when I look back on it, that I never thought that was the problem. I thought the depression was the problem. I thought the anxiety was the problem. I thought the booze was the solution.
Pam knew otherwise.
He was drinking too much and coming home too late, and I was carrying most of the workload and things like that. I would fight. I would fight with everything I had, and I could fight for a long, long time to make this marriage work and to make our children have a father that I wanted for them and what I considered normal.
It was challenging for her. I mean, I figured she knew what she got when she married me.
I remember crying out to God, saying, I can't do this anymore. I'm so tired, Lord. I just can't do this anymore. And I perceived deep inside of me, a voice said, it's about time. And I understood that he wanted me to let go. I was the one in the way, and he wanted me to trust him. And I did.
Instead of fighting with Danny over his addiction, Pam began praying for her husband.
It became what I was supposed to do, you know, as his wife, not to ever let him go.
All of a sudden, I would have these overwhelming needs to hear about God. It would like soothe my spirit. But I knew it was a result of my wife praying.
Danny finally reached out for help to beat his addiction.
I'd always said I didn't want to die on my boys the way my dad died on me. And I told God, I said, God, I don't see a way out. You know, I mean, the only way I saw out was dying. And I said, I don't know what to do. I'm scared.
That night, Danny attended church with his wife, and the pastor had a surprising message.
He said, one of you in this group prayed about your drug and alcohol addiction, and you told God you don't see a way out. But he wants you to know if you'll trust him with your life, he'll show you the way out. And I remember standing there, and it was like, you know, 60 million watts of lights, just because I thought everybody knows it's me.
It wasn't long before Danny became a Christian. He dove into the Bible. He says God gave him the power to turn his life around. Today, Danny is clean and sober.
It's been 21 years. I stepped over into God's plan for my life. Literally. You know, I've seen the bumper stickers that says, I didn't quit, I surrendered, and I'd always think, oh, that's kind of clever. No, that's real. I totally surrendered my life.
When I see my husband now, there isn't any chains on him. He's free. We are now a great couple in love with the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Oh my God, thank you, Jesus.
God restored my marriage